questions about IP law or about IP practice. Can we?
Sure, happy to answer.
Or about the firm, or maybe later, because we actually have a reception on the first floor after this. So you could stay on. Before that, we still have a bit of time, maybe 10 to 15, maybe 10 minutes for this. Any? Yes, please.
Yes,
Hello, thank you for the excellent presentations. I study intellectual property law in my undergraduate studies, and I now study in CU Hong Kong about Chinese commercial law. And I want to ask, before you mentioned about you are a very creative person, but you still choose to be a IP lawyer. And I personally think I would compared to law, I would like to do more creative thing like design or something else. Because in my opinion, to be a lawyer is some kind of a boring things. So I mean the career characteristics just leads this kind of impressions to people that a lawyer is a serious man and just this kind of impression. So I want to ask, as an IP lawyer, what do you think the special characteristic a lawyer should have? And on the other hand, what is IP lawyer's difference from other lawyers?
Okay.
Thank you.
I think I understand your question. You're basically saying all lawyers are boring, and your question, you're also saying that for IP lawyers, what are the special characteristics that there are? So in my humble opinion, I don't think lawyers are boring, actually. I beg to differ. But IP lawyers are particularly interesting, I think, because all the IP lawyers that I encounter, my clients, my peers, some of them who are here, some of our clients, they're very interesting people because, you know, there's more than law, meaning that you have a life, obviously, after work. And I think that's where IP law and the law comes into play, because I feel very fortunate that I'm not sure that I would actually end up being a property lawyer or, I don't know, a tax lawyer. I might find that a bit more challenging given my personality and my likes and dislikes. So you know who you are, you know, and you examine yourself. For me, I love literary works, artistic works, musical works, and those are the clients that I serve. And on a daily basis, I interact with them, you know, and I really feel the adrenaline actually just helping them because those are the issues I care about. So I think you need to find your passion, and for me, that was the passion, which is why George Wei, the IP judge in Singapore, he presented IP in such a way that made it so relevant. And now when I look, you know, around me, I just feel that we are full of IP. When I walk in the mall, my colleagues know this, you know, I check every brand on the store. And I wonder, first of all, is it a Baker McKenzie client? But no, but seriously, I think about, you know, what's the history of this brand? And I have some stories which I can share with you offline about how I connected the dots. Because as Steve Jobs says, you know, you have to connect the dots in your life to make it all, you know, come together. And as you're connecting the dots in law school now, I think that if you can connect your passion to, you know, something, career that you are aspiring to, if you can have that, I think that's the sweet spot for me.
Oh, yes, please.
In your speech, you talk a lot about the Chinese counterfeiters. So I'm just wondering, in China now, do you see any development of like local companies trying to protect their own IP rights?
Oh, yes. Okay, so it's a bit skewed because obviously a lot of my clients are foreign multinationals who are trying to protect their rights in China. But equally, what you don't hear about, because I'm not from a Chinese firm, is a lot of the Chinese piracy that goes on, and Chinese IP owners are suffering. And if you were to read the Chinese legal publications, you read about all the patent cases. There's a lot of patent litigation going on in China, and you know, both sides are being screwed, so to speak. So it's not just a foreign issue. Really, the Chinese inventors are getting their IP taken away. They are getting more aggressive. So the big Chinese companies have gone, I think, global, and they recognize the value of IP protection. And even foreign firms like ourselves are getting new clients like that. Yes.
First, let me answer her question first. In terms of boring lawyers, Judge Rader, Randall Rader, who spoke here last year, sings in a rock band. I don't know if you know that. So if you want to see a lawyer who is not boring, why don't you should look up his YouTube video. Actually, Mr. Tan, great speech. Just a question, slightly more advanced, about the first to file problem in China. Yeah. How far in advance should a company or an organization file their trademarks? Because, you know, there's a huge problem of other people filing and even in bad faith and still getting the trademarks before people do, and, you know, having the legitimate owner having to spend inordinate amounts of money and time to get the trademarks back.
Yeah, the first to file is still a big problem. So since I joined the firm in '89 till now, you know, we have many clients who are caught by this. So if you are late to the register, someone is already there, you have to spend a lot of money trying to invalidate this. The law has been changed as of a year and a half ago, which only allows for invalidation. So some of the usual things that we used to do, which is opposition appeals, that has kind of gone away. And what we find is this problem still persists, and because the lag time is about, I guess, 2 to 3 years, depending on how quickly they clear the backlog of trademark applications, we do ask our clients to file way in advance. But you know how it works. You know, there's a budget, and everyone just wants to just secure rights that they're using right now. So I find that many Asian IP owners only wake up to the challenge when something hits the fan, right? In the meantime, no one cares about the IP, and they only discover it later on. And it's quite shocking, because these are many, many well-known brands in Asia. But for many American, European brands, because I guess they have woken up to IP much earlier, they do file defensively way ahead of time. Sometimes they file too much, to be honest. And there's this doctrine of well-known marks, which would, you know, need a full lecture, Hao Chen, I think. You can invite someone else to speak on that, but that's also the doctrine which is very important to IP owners, and how you can get that determination. The thinking is that if you get well-known mark determination by whether it's by the courts or by the registry, by the Gongshangju, then you are kind of home free, in the sense that if someone, you know, counterfeits your brand in any class of goods or services, then you have something to rely on. But that's only reserved for the likes of Coca-Cola and, you know, Starbucks, all those very, very big brands who are almost everywhere.
One last question, maybe.
Thank you. I'm just wondering, what do you think about the future prospect? I mean, Gucci won a big case, but in the United States courts against the website which sold the fake Gucci bags. Now people talking about how are you going to enforce judgment from the U.S. in China. Given the scale of the problem in China, just what has to happen before you see real improvement in the enforcement of IP rights?
You're talking about cases litigated in China or overseas?
In overseas. The
cases which are litigated overseas?
In the United States, yes.
In the United States?
Yes.
Yeah. And okay, because you mentioned the brand Gucci, I am very careful about saying anything about Gucci, because I recognize that someone's out here from Gucci. So maybe Stan, you might want to say something about that. But
yes, I think there was a judgment 2 days ago. So they win, but the question is how they're going to enforce the U.S. judgment in Chinese courts. So.
Well, it's a bit difficult to tell, because it's still actually an ongoing case, and there will very likely be an appeal. So we're far from being done on that case, to be honest with you. It's we can't say much, frankly, and we haven't communicated on the case and on the decision. On paper, I could just briefly say it's very encouraging decision. But frankly speaking, we're far from being done. We very much expect them to file an appeal, and I think we're on for another round. It's going to take quite a few months before we can really say where we're going with that one. So Tiffany was involved as well in the same way in that case. But just to comment on the issue it was actually in relation to the banks. Payment means is something that brand owners are usually really looking into. You were talking about creative thinking in how we can approach a case. You say we need to look into labor laws, into labeling laws. Well, looking into the payment means as well. Counterfeiters are using Visa, MasterCards, PayPal, whatever payment means, like everyone else. We should look into these ways actually to tackle and enforce our rights as well. So this case is one to watch, definitely. It's made a bit of noise, but we're not done yet. So we'll have to be a bit more patient.
Yeah, we're very grateful for companies like those like Kering and other companies which are really leading the way, because this is only when the jurisprudence is formed in other countries that it will be very influential for the cases back in China. So thanks for taking the heat off me on that one. Yeah.
Oh, we still have one more? Okay, one last maybe? Okay, thank you.
Thanks for your presentation, and I would like to ask you a question quite differently from your spectrum, because the question, I am from Nepal, and what happens in our country, or the most of the products that do have the multinational brands, and that is sold within the official showroom, the branded as well as the forfeited. At that time, how we can prevent such within the Chinese jurisdiction about the producing the forfeited goods? One question. Second one is how much you can cover on the as a lawyer you can cover the entire China or not, because in the inner China or China autonomous region, Tibet or whatsoever, there is much more goods are forfeited, because you can easily find it out the similar type of iPhone or whatsoever. In this situation, how you feel it is challenging one, or what you can think about?
I'm so sorry. Can you just distill it to your question? I didn't quite catch it. Alice, did you?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I apologize, because okay. I know you said something about...
I want to say about your experience as you are providing a consultancy service for the multinational MNCs.
Yes.
Yeah, at that time, most of the goods in our country that is from the China are forfeited, and the sole agent or the agent of the showroom.
Sorry for the interruption. So could you please ask your question? Could you please sum up by asking a question, because we are running out of time?
Yeah, okay. And you can how you can find it out from the source? You can prevent it any forfeiting goods or
forfeiting goods.
Yeah, from the production or from within the industry or not? How you can challenge?
Does anyone understand the question? Confused to me. Okay, I can take it offline. How about that? Okay. I'll tell you how it works from A to Z. Yeah. But if your question is about seizure of products,
seizure means how you can prevent from producing the such forfeited goods.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Maybe if I understand you correctly, what you're asking me is how I can prevent the goods from maybe disappearing from the factories when I do the actions.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have to have very good information. You have to have very good contacts. And for us, you hear of this word guanxi relationship. Everyone claims to have it, and guess what? We also claim to have it too, right? But we want to make sure that the people that you work with are trusted, so that by the time you actually lodge a complaint, we normally don't tell the officials, what IP we are talking about until the morning itself, which is why I was surprised when, she had a bag that was exactly the product I wanted to raid. But if you keep it very, very discreet, and on the day that you file the complaint, then hopefully you can get good justice. But there have been many, many cases that we have done where by the time we do the raids, the products have left the premises, either because someone has, been corrupt enough to share that information, whether it's within the bureaucracy or within the factory or within the investigation group, who knows? But it's something that is not easy, and we do obviously our best as consultants with our clients to make sure that we have a more sanitized way of ensuring good success.
Okay, thank you very much. I think it's time for some networking, as I said before. So we have a reception on the first floor of this building. You just go down to the first floor, and then we can chat more if you like, if you would like to stay on. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Tan.
Plenty of